As you know, much of the time in the AVID class is devoted to tutorials where students work in collaborative, subject-specific study groups led by college students such as Beatrice, who are trained in AVID methodology. Students are required to take notes in each of their academic classes and from these notes to develop questions as their homework. These questions are AVID students' right of entry into the study groups the following day. Because the students' questions regarding coursework are shared with the group, conversation often turns to classroom practices which are either a help or a hindrance to student learning. Within AVID, we've been keeping an informal list of classroom approaches that promote student learning. And the students and I that I've invited to today's site team meeting would like to share with you this list. Let me first introduce to you Ian, who is a junior and wishes to become a pediatrician.
I'm enrolled in honors level courses, and I do well when I'm given the time to study the material thoroughly and ask questions about what I do not understand. We know sometimes, particularly in my advanced placement biology class, we're shown a film regarding a complicated concept, and the narrator uses difficult vocabulary. Often a quiz follows the film, but I have not had the opportunity to study the content and share with other students, ideas they got from the film which I may have missed because I was struggling with vocabulary.
That's a good point, Ian. Many of the science teachers do give quizzes after films. We do this just to make sure that the students are paying attention during the films.
If you required us to take notes on the film and give us credit for using the notes in study groups after the film, then answered questions for us about questions that we did not understand, I bet all of the students would pay attention, and I know we could all learn more and do better on the quiz.
That's a good idea, Ian. I'll just share that with the science teachers at the next department meeting. Did you think up that yourself, or did you and your friends in AVID come up with that?
Yes, and that's how we do things in AVID.
The second student I would like to introduce to you is Alejandro Rodriguez, or Alex. And Alex wants to be an FBI agent. He's a senior.
I came from Mexico not long ago. I had a good education there, especially in Spanish. But when I came to school here, I was playing Spanish 1, 2, and that is too easy for me.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'll work with the Foreign Language Department to write an official student course placement policy and meet with the counseling department and make sure that they understand it. I know that you and your fellow AVID students will be successful in these advanced classes.
I'll be happy to call the counseling department together to discuss that policy. We have so many student placements to take care of that having something in writing really helps us.
Finally, I'd like to introduce Tasha Sullivan, a sophomore, and Tasha wishes to become a lawyer.
In my AVID class, the teachers give us a short assignment and only give us a few minutes to come up with a solution.
You know, one thing that I do sometimes is that I set up the reporting of groups as a game. I ask key questions and the groups compete for answers. I give points to the groups on the board so there's competition to gain points. It's really a great way to review for tests.
Another thing that I like to do with groups is rather than assign a leader, I don't assign a leader and I don't assign a recorder because often they're the only two that are doing the work. So what I do is I throw a die to determine who will have to report from the group so that everybody stays focused.
I've got so many good ideas from everyone here today. I can't wait to go back and make up my lessons for tomorrow.
I appreciate the honest dialogue that we've had today. May I suggest that we go back to our classes for the next couple of weeks and try out some of these things that we've been talking about today, and I'll have the AVID students keep learning logs over that period of time. Students, would you be willing to meet with us again in about 2 weeks and share with us how things are going?
Yes.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you students for meeting with us today. You have obviously spent a lot of time thinking about your learning and also thinking about the information you wanted to share with us during the meeting today. You're the kind of students that make teaching a real joy for all of us. Thank you for the kind of young adult you are becoming. Teachers, if you would like me to find class coverage for you in the next couple weeks so that you can work with each other on these strategies, I'd be more than happy to do so. As you know, a successful school is one in which teachers are reflective practitioners, just as these young students are reflective learners. Today's meeting has put us well on our way. Thank you.
Site team meetings allow staff members to openly discuss and monitor both student and curricular issues. Frequently, academic teachers correspond with site team members to promote student success. Finally, I am convinced that the AVID Site Team has been responsible for developing school-wide support for the program.
When we attended the AVID Summer Institute in August, we focused in on our subject area strands on methodologies that enhance student access to a rigorous curriculum, writing to learn, inquiry, and collaboration. What strategies have been working effectively?
Yeah, I've required my students to take notes this semester, and I let them share these notes together in groups and then come up with their own test questions. Oftentimes, this leads to them performing better on the tests, and they really are excited about taking a test that they had a part in developing.
Yes, many of the AVID students have told me how much that helps them in their science and other classes. It's a strategy that we often use in our tutorial groups. The students are surprised at how much additional information they can add to their own notes once they get a chance to discuss with others what they wrote.
I've found that using writing to clarify thinking has been very helpful to students in my class. You know, simply copying down numbers and symbols from the board doesn't really help my students understand the process that they need to go through to arrive at a solution. When we take the time at the beginning of class to clarify questions that they have in their Cornell notes, we can move into the new material a lot more cohesively, and students are ready to learn.
Our department has adopted holistic scoring, and I would be happy to provide the other departments with our methodology for scoring essays. I would be happy to provide an in-service for the other departments, and of course we'll continue to emphasize the writing process. It's important for the students to have the opportunity to revise their writing and apply what they know about the standard written English.
I've enjoyed using the learning log as a writing to learn activity. When the students come to class, I have a prompt written on the board. It usually relates to what we'll be discussing in class that day, and while I take roll, it provides the students an opportunity to focus on what they already know. Sometimes I have them share their responses in small groups to get us started.
Last semester, I noticed that the AVID students in my classes were much more likely to be prepared for class simply because they were writing their assignments on an assignment sheet in their binders. So this year, I've required that all of my students use this as kind of an assignment sheet, and I've found that this way, fewer students are surprised when there's a due date for a test. Also, since oral language is such an important component in language classes, I found that many of the students have formed study groups that meet before and after school, especially just before they know that they're going to have an exam, because they have learned so thoroughly that they retain the material much better when they interact in groups than when they study in isolation.
It's really great that more teachers are emphasizing questioning, note-taking, and student responsibilities. The students tell us that they feel supported, and we see that when we evaluate the AVID binders. You know, the AVID students really, really value this notebook since it contains so much that it's vital to their success in school.
I've heard some really, really great ideas today, and I'm hopeful that you would be willing to share those ideas with the other staff members at our next staff meeting. I would like to take a look at how what we're using with AVID students could be used school-wide so that all students would benefit from these practices. What do you think?
Perhaps as a follow-up to the presentation, we could set up a peer coaching model for those who are interested. We could work in partners or small groups to visit each other's classes, observe demonstration lessons, and discuss what we're learning about effective practices.
That's a great idea. I think if this team could develop a plan, we could put it in action. I'm sure the staff development budget will support the activity.
The AVID Site Team at Wilson Academy has a unique opportunity to effect school-wide change. The team has merged with the Race Human Relation and Staff Development team on campus to form the Staff Development Committee.
We are truly the equity police for students on our campus. We constantly question new programs for students and teachers to make sure we are including all learners on our campus in rigorous curriculum and training teachers to effectively handle their diverse needs.
Last evening was the first student project demonstration night. Parents, teachers, and members of the community attended a celebration of sorts. We're celebrating lots of innovative ideas, including the opportunity for teachers to follow a group of students throughout the academic year at our school, and it's so exciting. I see students working together with teachers who have common prep periods and more time to meet the needs of their students. Ian, how did you think it went last night?
It went very well. I'm not an interdisciplinary team student, but my parents and I came because my little brother is. My parents felt very proud to see his work displayed, and he was proud also. You know, I usually try to keep away from my little brother, but I had a chance to visit with his teacher. Everyone is pleased with the program because my little brother is enjoying school for the first time since his early elementary days.
One of the things that I really like about the AVID program is that as teachers, we have the time to plan and discuss our student needs. And I know that one of the functions of the AVID Site Team is to meet and discuss student needs. I'm really proud to say that we're following that model in our interdisciplinary team meetings. Now what I'd really like to do is to spend more time visiting classes to learn more strategies that can help me to better help my students and meet their needs.
I'm starting a new writing lesson tomorrow, and you're invited to observe. Since we have the same prep, we can get together later and talk. If it works well, we can share it at our next AVID Site Team meeting, and then the AVID Site Team members can take it to their department meetings.
Great idea. Let me know how it goes. I will be attending the governance meeting tomorrow, and the first agenda item is going to be the budget. What needs do we have for AVID?
Jerry, we need to request money for the Summer Institute. We know that you're going, but we also need to be sure that a member from each department is going, as well as the team leader for the new interdisciplinary team. I want to be sure that our AVID students enroll in these special schools, that their needs are continuing to be met. We can't assume that they will continue to focus on college eligibility unless our staff are aware of these goals. These new schools could easily be another form of tracking. I want to be sure that this doesn't happen here. Let's also get our request for funding in early.
I'm concerned because I've heard that the powers that be are planning to implement a 4-hour block of two of the program majors. It would be really difficult for a lot of our students to continue in AVID. I think we need to present a written statement of our concerns. They are planning in the planning stages now, and I know they welcome our input. Even if the 4-year plan is agreed upon, we need to ensure that our AVID students have an alternate plan. And UCSD research emphasizes the need for AVID students to have at least 3 years in the program. And we also know that if they're not in AVID as seniors, the chances of them completing the application process and the financial aid papers diminish. So we need to bring that up at the meeting tomorrow.
Thanks for reminding me of all that.
I think as team members of the AVID team, we should be involved in school-wide change everywhere, wherever we can be.
Would you like to go with me? The more support, the better.
Sure, I'm always ready for another meeting.
I'm very pleased to hear that, Brian. As we move forward in site-based decision-making, it's very important that teachers who are interested in the needs of underrepresented students be involved in the process. Today we've been talking about peer coaching, staff development, and leadership that focuses on new concepts of teaching and learning. I'm very pleased to work with such an enthusiastic group. I'd like to thank you for your time and effort, and please know that you are really making a difference.
Hoover High School, located in East San Diego, California, is the most ethnically and culturally diverse public high school in the city. We We also have had some of the lowest SAT and ACT scores in the district, and as might be suspected, very low college-going rates. Since 1986, Hoover's AVID program has focused on increasing the number of students enrolled in rigorous college preparatory classes, advanced and AP courses while in high school, with the hoped-for result of increasing the number of graduates attending four-year universities. This task required full administrative and faculty support, as well as parent and student involvement if we were to succeed. Now, 7 years later, we can see the light at the end of an often very dark tunnel. 40% of our faculty and teacher assistants have been trained in the AVID techniques of writing as it applies to various academic subjects, inquiry and collaborative study groups, note-taking and study techniques that will ensure success in high school and which will lay the foundation for a successful college career and create lifelong learners. Now that our site team of faculty members, students, teaching assistants, counselors, parents, and administrators have been AVIDized, our student population has also raised their own levels of expectations. All teachers require students to produce evidence of achievement and organization with educational and career goals in mind. Parents, as well as teachers, have supported us in our common goal that we truly can change our small corner of the world by expecting the best of our students. Already we have seen results. More underrepresented students are applying and being accepted into four-year universities, both private and public, in California and nationwide. And AVID graduates are returning to our community as teacher assistants, mentors to our ninth graders, and positive role models. I believe our community has turned the corner. At times we have lost sight of our successes, become discouraged, and felt alone during this journey. But as members of a site team in a diverse community, we often draw strength from the wisdom of our many cultures. From our African heritage, we know it takes the entire village to raise a child. And from our Native American culture, we believe when making decisions in the present, we must remember the positive and negative effects these decisions will have on 7 generations hence. It is from our collective spirit that we draw strength to teach, to lead, and to inspire creative change within our school and our community.